Hey guys, Kevin Henry with Ignite DA, practicing my social distancing, but still getting out of the house a little bit. Hope that you all are as well. Just want to let you know about all the great things that we have coming up with Care Credit, Dr. Bicuspid, so many good people coming on board with us from the KOL side, from the key opinion leader side, from the thought leader side to talk about what's going on right now in our industry and how you need to be prepared for what's to come whenever dentistry kicks back in full steam. I'm so excited about what we're doing with Care Credit, Dr. Bicuspid, Ignite DA, Ignite DDS, all working together to provide you some great information. So hey, stay healthy, stay away from each other, but more than anything else, stay tuned because we've got so many good things coming to you and we want to make sure that you're a part of the information that we're going to share from some of the best minds out there in dentistry. Hey, together we rise. Look forward to seeing you online. Dr. Bicuspid, Ignite DA, Ignite DDS, Care Credit, all coming together. Facebook Live, so much happening. Can't wait to see you.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're getting excited for another episode here today. I know I am. I'm learning a ton from all of our experts. Before we start though, I kind of want to talk to you about something that's really important, something we've focused on our whole careers for other people, wellness. We've worked so hard to keep them well. And I don't know about you, but if you're anything like me, in the last month and a half, I've learned an awful lot about needing to keep myself well. We need to keep ourselves well. So as we launch the Digital Academy on IgniteDDS.com, that's going to be awesome, FYI. We decided we'd lead the charge with a wellness page, a yoga page. So I'm personally inviting y'all to join us 9 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday mornings Eastern Time on IgniteDDS.com/yoga for our session to help you stay healthy. We've got meditation sessions, we've got yoga sessions coming in. So join us at IgniteDDS.com/yoga. We want to help you guys stay well too. Cheers.
Hey everyone, it is Kevin Henry, the co-founder of Ignite DA. Hope you're doing well. Really excited about what we're going to talk about today, as well as to say hello to my partner in crime and good friend, Dr. David Rice of Ignite DDS. What's going on, man?
Kev, we had a little tornado in Florida today. That was interesting. I'm not an Oklahoma guy. Like, I don't know this this weather.
You weren't outside filming it or taking pictures or anything, huh?
I was a storm chaser, but no, everything's good. It's all good. But yep, still in Florida. But super excited. James Wanamaker, Dr. James, how are you today?
Good. How are you? It's good to be back.
It's good. Listen, well, you're in New York, which is where my practice is too, and we want to talk today about preparing for reentry. Obviously, there are some practices that are open already, full bore, and in New York, we're a little bit maybe behind. But you've been doing, I don't know. Let's talk about what you've been doing, and then maybe what you've been preparing for.
Yeah. So when the outbreak first happened, New York restricted everything down to emergencies only, and it was a pretty restrictive list of what we could see and do. And then they expanded that to urgent care dentistry, which gave us a little more variety of patients that we can get into the office. You know, patients that are having cracked teeth, having pain, having symptoms that are not going away, signs of dental infections. So we've been getting as many of those patients in that need emergency or urgent treatment as possible, because our message is we are open and it is safe to get dentistry in a controlled way. And so we've put in a variety of precautions and systems and equipment in place to enhance our already, enhanced standards that we followed before. You know, we were always met or exceeded any of the OSHA and CDC guidelines, and now that those are changing, we're taking that to the next level.
I love that. I love that. So teams, dentists pay attention and be like James, and teams pay attention because he's exactly the kind of dentist you want to be working with. Kevin, I mean, you're hearing an awful lot from teams out there on am I safe, as much as patients are saying. What are you hearing?
Well, and what you just said, a lot of folks are going, what's it going to be like? How do I feel safe? What assurances do I have? And while we can never, say with 100% guarantee anything in life, James, what you just said a minute ago is very important, is that you've been doing this for a long time. Again, these things haven't changed since before we knew about COVID. And so I think that practices that have done that really have a leg up now, even with the way that things have changed and the new expectations that are being put upon them.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, the patient or the team communication has been essential in this, and in making sure that our team and all the girls that work at our practice feel comfortable treating patients. And then they also feel confident in the systems and the PPE and how to correctly use it. And I think there's definitely some offices that, may not be up to what the new standards are yet, but the good thing is we have some time to get up to those standards before you get patients in the door. So kind of utilize this downtime that a lot of us have to, spend that time getting your team on board.
I love it. So what kind of things have you added to what you were already doing before?
So when the outbreak first happened, we were doing a temperature screening and the questionnaire for patients, either on the phone with the questionnaire or when they got to the practice. And then we expanded those questions to what the ADA toolkit had. There's a whole questionnaire on one of the last pages of what questions to ask patients. In New York, I added a question to that questionnaire for us because they've been testing so many people, symptomatic and asymptomatic. I added a question of, have you been tested for COVID? Yes or no? And if you have you tested positive or negative? Just because they're testing so many people, and a lot of our patients are healthcare workers. We see a lot of physicians and a lot of nurses in the area. So it's good to know if they have been tested and if they've tested negative. So that was a question that we added. So we have a little station right at our front door when they come in. They call us when they get to the parking lot. One of us meets them out either under our awning if it's raining, or meets them right at the car. Asks them those questions again, checks the temperature, brings them back in. They stop at the front desk. They get hand sanitizer for their hands. And for the front, we also added, let me turn our camera around. We have a full open setup for our front desk. So we added some plexiglass screens that we mounted up above just to give a little more of a barrier for the front team to provide that kind of sneeze guard protection that you see at a lot of the grocery stores now. So on the front end, that's what we've added. I'm working on getting some stickers on the floor to kind of guide people for where to stand if they are at the front desk. We're trying to do as much of the check-in, check-out process and the payment process over the phone as we can, just to minimize how much time people are spending in the office.
Yeah.
And then we took a bunch of seats out in our reception area, even though people aren't really going to be waiting in them in general because they'll be in their cars. But just if they did sit down, it gives it a little more social distancing.
I like that. And you know what? That plexiglass is, from my view, not really obtrusive. I mean, obviously we want this relationship, but you can barely know it's there.
Yeah, and we were able to do that ourselves with a trip to Lowe's. It was about $300 worth of plexiglass and some L brackets and some hardware, and we were able to get it fairly unobtrusive, but just enough to provide a physical barrier and kind of a reminder for people not to walk straight up to the desk and be hovering over our front team.
I like it. I like it. How about as you move into the clinical space?
So as we move into the clinical space, we added air filters into every operatory. We ended up going with the Medify air filters. I know that's not required. The CDC doesn't say that you have to use air filters, but we found ones that filter down to 0.1 microns, which is the size of the typical virus carrier. So if there is an airborne virus, in theory, this should filter that out. So we added up the square footage that our office had and tried to figure out how many air filters we need. We put one in every operatory, put one up front, one in our break room, kind of anywhere where people may congregate a little bit, so that total our office is getting filtered more than 5 times an hour. Air is being filtered through the building. And then on the HVAC side, so all the ducts that run our heat and air, we put a UV system in both of our furnace ducts to purify the air as it comes through there. And supposedly that reduces bacterial and viral levels as well using UV light. Granted, none of that is required. This is just extra things that we're doing. But from a patient perspective and a team perspective, we wanted to talk about how we're going above and beyond what the requirements are. And on a patient side, I think it's good for them to see that we're doing more than just the minimum standard.
Love it, Kev.
James, I got to ask you about your schedule a little bit and kind of how, with everything new, what has that done to that?
So, right now with us just seeing urgent and emergent cases, we cut our hours down. So we typically would work anywhere from 7 to 5 or 8 to 4, some depending on the day of the week. We've cut our days down to 8 to noon, 5 days a week instead, just because we don't have the patient volume for us to be here full-time 5 days a week going just on emergencies and urgent cases alone. And then we have the calls for emergencies after hours forward to either my cell phone or the other, my partner, the other doctor's cell phone. And we'll come in on the weekends if needed, but there just isn't the volume with just urgency or emergency appointments to extend beyond those hours. But hopefully when we get some hygiene back in the door, we'll go back to normal hours and actually probably have to expand our hours to play catch up to get those. We have about 1,500 appointments on our quick fill list from appointments that we've had to cancel and reschedule out. So we have a lot of catch up to do.
And Kevin, I know you have a pulse on what's going on with states and practices that are open, and patients are responding pretty well, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. One thing that the ADA Health Policy Institute said the other day is that they're using the term cautious optimism about what is happening right now. But yeah, we're hearing that all different parts of the country. Like you just said, James, they're on the list and they're ready to come back in.
David, are you guys finding that you have to add appointment times on your end? Because for some of us, for some of the emergencies where we normally would run multiple columns, and right now with all the PPE changes and getting our team on board, we've been adding extra time and not double booking when we do have emergencies until we get kind of a good flow down.
Yeah, we're doing the exact same thing. We're phasing the comeback, and then we're expanding the hours as we do that and staggering appointments. So, normally we ran, at 8:30, the whole wave of patients came in. So we've got 8:30, 8:40, 8:50, so there's
pretty much exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I think we have a lot of great information out in dentistry. And I know everybody's looking for this miracle cure that doesn't exist, but I think there's a lot of people saying some really smart things that if we just, follow that wave, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. And it takes time to put on all this PPE and change it and follow all of that. And so this week we spent time getting all the girls fit tested for their N95s. So that was time worthwhile in my opinion.
And how did that go?
It went pretty well. We were fortunate we were able to find a couple different types of N95s. We spent a lot of money on PPE, and I spent hours on the phone finding people that could get us what we needed. And, you always talk about having those relationships with people. Well, these relationships came in very valuable right now with the reps that we had from our companies, and friends like Patterson were able to hook us up. Because we were loyal and because we were good clients. And I stayed in contact with all of our reps, even though usually the Our assistants tend to handle a lot of the purchase ordering. I always made it a point to, always say hi to our reps when they came in, so that when, our assistants were kind of off the first few weeks of this, I kind of took over the ordering and all the phone calls with the reps, and at least having them know who I am and know that relationship was really valuable to us getting what we needed to get back to work.
That's awesome. Awesome. How have you noticed any emotional difference between team members, from hygiene to assisting to admin to you as dentist, or is it just sort of an individual person thing?
I think it's a very individual person thing, because everyone has a different situation at home. Everyone may have different, personal risk levels or family situations that affect how comfortable they are coming back to work. Overwhelmingly, the response from our team was, let's get ready, let's get back to work. But making sure that we do it in a very cautious, calculated way, so we don't just rush in and jump in feet first into this without planning how we're going to do it. And making sure that the communication side was a huge factor. So the girls knew how much time we spent, researching the PPE that we needed, and what equipment we're going to do, and what procedures we may or may not be able to do, and what procedural changes we may have. Kind of reassured them that we're not just rushing them in, and we're not just throwing them into the fire without being prepared first.
I love that. Yeah. Kev, thoughts?
I think what you said right there is so important, because they need a little bit of that reassurance, and to know that there is some kind of a plan, even if the plan is ever evolving. So kudos to you, James, for kind of making sure that everybody was kind of moving forward. The whole Together We Rise thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that you're doing that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, James, you and I were in Charlotte, and we heard a great guy speak, Brian Kite. And Brian broke down vision, culture, habits, and how that flow kind of goes back and forth. And I think you want to talk about preparation for everybody who's watching. When you have a strong vision like James, that helps you develop a really strong culture, and you build great habits around it. And then those habits feed this great culture, which supports the vision. I'm left with my favorite word, trust. And I think for all, Kevin, how many times a day do you see in various Facebook groups where we're hanging out right now, where there is so little trust?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, dentists, team members out there, if you want to work on one thing, work on building trust with each other, because I love to hear what James is sharing. And I'm here to share that I feel blessed. Our team is very much like your team. We're ready. Like in fact, like, people are chomping at let's get back and do this thing, for goodness sakes. What are we waiting for? We're trained, we've got systems, we've got PPE, let's go help our patients. And if you're not one of those dental pros out there, I would encourage you to work on great communication skills, like James mentioned, and to try to build a better relationship moving forward. This is a huge opportunity. Don't look at it as the past and the obstacles. Look at what could come tomorrow if we do this right. Yep. Any last thoughts, James? That was great stuff.
No, that you really hit the nail on the head on making sure that your culture is right, and really keeping those lines of communication open with your team, and then with the patients too. That's another huge side, and being able to communicate to the patients, the confidence that we have to treat them, and what offices are investing in to reopen. Patients need to hear about that.
I like that. Kev, thoughts? James, congratulations, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think you're providing a template that every dental practice should be following, as far as just being very logical, but also having that heart and mind combination to know when to be reaching out to your team, keeping them on board, as well as doing the things that we're being told are smart things to do to bring dentistry back.
Well, I didn't get this on my own. I learned a lot from you guys along the way. So
we're all in this thing together.
Happy to spread the wealth around.
Thanks, James. Kev, great to see you again. Everybody for watching. Listen, if you want to learn more about how to best communicate, how to build that vision, that culture, and those daily habits, we'll throw a link in here. I would highly recommend you follow it. It's you've probably seen over the last 8 weeks consistently expert after expert after expert in lots of different spaces sharing the same exact message. This stuff works no matter where you are in this country, big city, small city, big practice, small, high volume, low volume. This is an opportunity for all of us to just get a little bit better tomorrow than we were yesterday. So thanks for joining us, guys. James, thank you so much for giving us the tour. Kev, I'll chat with you later, and gang, till next time, together we rise.